Take back control. Stop letting algorithms decide your news. Get uncensored history and real knowledge to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. Watch ad-free content now at inevernewtv.com premium. On a spiritual note, if you like to share, I appreciate it. But how has gaining all this information and working this field impacted you spiritually?
Whoo! I haven't done the math, but for over I haven't done the math down to today, but for over 8,000 days, I've honored the ancestors every single day. And before we started African Ancestry, I didn't do that. There's absolutely no reason why, when you have these mega companies that you're competing against, and you're this tiny little business, that you would still be in business after 22 years if it wasn't for the ancestors. It's not because I'm smart. It's not because Black folks are clamoring, beating down our doors to take this test. It's because the ancestors want us to have this information. They want us to know who they are. You're going to want your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren, and you're going to want your legacy to live on. You're going to want them to know who you are. They want us to know who they are. And when we connect with the power, we plug ourselves back into the power source. There's a whole nother, there's a new set of energy, it's not a set of energy. There's just a new energy that exists to propel us forward in life. And so that's how this work has impacted me. It has forced me to know the ancestors, honor the ancestors, represent for the ancestors, and encourage others to know their ancestors and trust. Yes, and trust.
Because the reason I asked that, because everyone I know who works for themselves or has a company, we know how it goes already. And
is that trust? I feel like that's just blind faith. That's faith. Or it might be mental illness too. I don't know, but okay.
Maybe there too. But we just gonna go with a more positive word. But no, real talk in regards to and I felt that when you said that, in regards to that connection to the ancestors, right? Question I have for you now. You grew up in a Christian society. I'm not sure what your background is, right? But how was that initially opening yourself to a different concept of spirituality when you made that transition and started kind of engaging in having a different perspective on whether you say religion or we would say spirituality or African spiritual sciences, as Professor James Smalls would say?
Yeah, I don't think this work didn't open me up. I was already open. My parents were doing transcendental meditation when I was a little girl. I had to go into the rooms and, do the kids' version of it. So, and my grandparents were very devout Christians, very active until, their deathbeds, really, at Grace Baptist Church in Philadelphia. So I've always been open to the idea that there's religion and then there's spirituality, and that there's a force, that kind of, there's a force that guides all of it, in my opinion. So this work didn't open me up in one way or another. What it did was just, I was already open. So it allowed me to learn more and experience more and see more. Right? Because when you start to do this work, you get into the rooms with the Tony Browders and the Professor Smalls and the people like that, and you are engaged with the Chantrell Lewis's, who does Boku Hoodoo, and so it just puts you in spaces where you're able to grow.